the next menu on the list is From Model. So in Create, From Model, we have different CAD snap points that we can make points from. These are very handy, especially when dealing with models, so DWG files, DXF files, whether they're 3D or 2D. However, we can also do it on our own line work that we have existing. In this way, we can also collect data from our robotic total station in a room, draw lines and make different points from it, so we can find the midpoint of a wall, or we could find the middle of a room, whatever it might need to be. So starting off, we have endpoints, midpoints, intersections, circle arc centers, apparent intersections, and center from 3 points. Let's start with endpoints. If I check my endpoints box, and then I click on a line near an endpoint, notice it's trying to create an endpoint for me right there. I do have a point present already, so I will not be hitting create. However, before I would create anything, I could always go into my input form button at the bottom, put in a point name, description, and a layer. I can also click on multiple endpoints at the same time. So in this circumstance, I've clicked 1, 2, 3 points that it could make all at the same time. Let's go ahead and clear those out because I don't need to duplicate my points. Next on the list is midpoints. So first, I do want to uncheck this endpoints box, and I want to check my midpoints box. I can click on the line near a midpoint, and it will create that blue temporary midpoint for me. In order to solidify it, we will hit create. Now, it is a point that we can go lay out. Let's uncheck our midpoints box and use our intersections box now. Right here where our line work meets in the middle is an intersection. Please note that it only works because our intersection is on the same elevation. If they are not on the same elevation, we cannot create this intersection point in our From Model menu. However, I have intersection clicked, and if I click on that intersection, now we have our blue temporary point that I can create. Next up is circle arc centers. Let's uncheck that intersections box. If I would click on this radius right here, notice it is giving me the radius point. We previously made that radius point whenever we did our radius line work. If we were on a model and we had a radius on that model or DWG file, it would create that radius point that we could lay out if necessary. Next up is the apparent intersections button. An apparent intersection is where one line and another line would meet if one of the lines were extended. So for example, if I click on this line up here, it highlights it blue, and now I'll click this line down here. Now, our apparent intersection point where those two lines would intersect is created along this line, and I can hit create. Again, this apparent intersections will only work if the elevations would actually intersect. The last option is center from 3 points. Let's uncheck our apparent intersections box. With the center from 3 points option selected, I can click 3 different points, 1, 2, 3, and it will create a radius, a circle from those 3 points. It will also show us what that radius is right here in the middle. Just to show you one more time, let's create a radius from these 3 corners. Notice it creates this radius in a temporary blue setting and gives us that radius point right there in the middle. Let's hit create. It did just put another point right on top of the point we already had existed. Finally, let's look at the options on the left-hand side of the screen. The first button is a window selection button. Let's say I want to find all of the midpoints in this top left half of our plan. So if I click my button and make it yellow, the window selection button, I can click my mouse or finger and drag it over a specific area. Now, it will create every midpoint within that area that I have boxed out. If I would do it again in that same area, it will deselect all of those midpoint selections. The button below it is the Current View button. That means that whatever I can currently see on my screen, it will choose that snap point. So if I click my eyeball, notice it gives me a midpoint on this line to the left, a midpoint on every one of my segments, and on every other line that I have present. These three buttons are very useful whenever we're dealing with drawing files, 2D or 3D models. We're going to get into how to use this function with those models in a later video. For now, that's all you need to know about From Model.